Hey, Chrissy here. I am a landscape architect and the owner of Kismet Design. I am a very process-driven designer, and I love sharing what I do and how I do it with anyone who's interested. Reaching your true potential and achieving your own personal goals will not happen by chance. You have to set your intentions, make a plan, and do the work. Thank you for joining me to nerd out on design. Don't forget to subscribe and to share too. Let's create something great together. Hey everyone, I'm back. It's been a hot minute since I recorded an episode. Not because I didn't want to, but life happens. And since it's top of mind for me, I figure what better topic than time allocation. There are times in life and in business where you will undoubtedly have to make decisions on the best use of your time. What tasks need the most attention and which need the least. Sometimes it is easy and sometimes it takes very careful judgment and juggling to decide what to dedicate your focus, and likely means setting aside some things to pick up later, or delegating them, or deleting them from your list entirely. It isn't always easy to make that decision. I often have trouble with whatever you want to call it, but shiny object syndrome. I want to do the fun thing, even though I know I have other things that are more important. But when I step back and let my goals and my values make the decision for me, I feel better about setting aside that shiny object, knowing I will circle back around and find it again later. When it comes to my typical schedule, the shiny objects are often the design work, the sketches, and even this podcast. I would really rather be doing this than QuickBooks most days. But the adult thing to do, and as a responsible business owner, sometimes QuickBooks has to win. Before sitting down today to record, I did finish my QuickBooks tasks, my emails, and I even cleaned my desk. Now I get to reward myself with something fun. When I plan out my days, my weeks, and my months, there are always standout priorities as well as underlying recurring tasks. All of the items that can be foreshadowed are much easier to plan for. It is these surprises that throw off a very well laid plan. When there aren't enough hours in the day, choosing to focus on the items that have the greatest impact will keep things moving forward. Sometimes it can be something small that makes a big impact. For example, if you are in a season of business where workflow has slowed and you start to worry about your pipeline and your cash flow, a simple task that could have a big impact could be a short email to check in on an old project that stalled, a past client, or a collaborator. It only takes a couple minutes and could make a big difference. Another example of a small task with a big impact I use all the time, and I already mentioned it, is cleaning my desk. I move and think much more efficiently when I have a clean space. I'm pretty messy. I leave piles and stacks of things out because I like to have everything at my fingertips, but sometimes it just gets to be a bit much and I've got to clear the space, reorganize, and sometimes I end up finding things that I've already done and I just didn't put away. Or sometimes it's something that didn't get put on my actual to-do list, but I left the folder on my desk to remind myself to do it and I forgot. So it helps immensely and it doesn't take that much time, even though it does feel daunting going into it sometimes. Tiny gestures that I often get the pleasure and opportunity to do that have a big impact for others is answering simple questions. I get emails often with questions about the things that I talk about on the podcast, whether it's a simple reassurance that, yes, you are doing the right thing, or a recommendation for a software or a process, especially for new designers who are filled to the brim with questions. What is often a quick, easy response for me could make a huge impact on their day and even on their business. I know from personal experience how many tiny Seemingly insignificant gestures my colleagues, mentors, friends, and clients have done for me that have had a huge impact. Even to this day, I still find those tiny little gestures and a simple question that might seem insignificant to someone else makes a huge difference for me. So don't undermine the tiny things. Sometimes it feels like doing the biggest thing is what it takes to really move the needle. But often it is a small task, small decisions, simple, easy motions. The baby steps do add up to big milestones. And even a small act can sometimes be the first of many dominoes. If you are anything like me, sometimes those tiny little tasks that only take a few minutes are the ones that stay on the to do list, sometimes embarrassingly long. But each time I check one off, I have to stop and laugh at myself for procrastinating on such a tiny task. And it is then that I remind myself yet again to evaluate the impact things have on my business and even on my life. Sometimes those tiny little tasks add up and sometimes they feel heavy. Sometimes I'm surprised at what a weight is lifted off my shoulders as I check off a couple tiny little things off my to do list. So don't underestimate the small tasks. I also use a matrix that I have had pinned up on my bulletin board for years now. And I just today looked up the name of it so that I could mention it. It is called the Eisenhower Matrix. For those of you that either don't know what it is or, like me, just didn't know that it even had a name, it is a simple matrix with 4 boxes used to prioritize tasks. The columns on the top are labeled urgent and non urgent, and the rows are labeled important and non important. That means that the tasks that fall under the urgent and important quadrant are the ones that should be prioritized. They have the biggest impact and consequences for non completion. They are the things that need to be done now or have a specific timeline associated with them, and they are the highest importance on your list. The far corner from that is the non urgent, non important tasks, basically the polar opposite of the important, urgent items. These are typically distractions and unnecessary tasks and things that could and often should be simply deleted from your to do list. In the other corners are the important and non urgent items. These are items that aren't urgent, but they still matter, so they can be scheduled. So they don't have to be done now. They don't need to be prioritized at the moment. But if you schedule them, then you can assure yourself that you will get them done at some point and not just let them linger on the to do list. And the opposite of that quadrant is the urgent but non important tasks. And those things are what I think of as the delegation zone. Those are things that do need to be done in a timely manner, but maybe they're not super important that I myself do them, or maybe it's something that can easily be done by somebody else. I can delegate it, or I can hire it out to be done, or things that really might not be worth my time currently, but I might do the task when I'm not super busy. When I am especially overloaded, sometimes I will assign a color to each of these quadrants and color code my to do list so that I can see clearly the priorities and provide myself the sometimes much needed visual cue of what tasks are distractions, even if they are fun, and what things really need my focus and my prioritization. There is a reason that trauma teams, be it in a hospital or in the military, use similar systems to triage patients. It is quick, it is efficient, and allows you to make the biggest impact in the shortest time. If you can't visualize it, click on the link in the show notes or simply Google Eisenhower Matrix. The link I have provided is to a great article by none other than Asana. Go figure. Asana is the software that I use for my to-do list, which I mentioned in the last podcast episode. And I should have expected that those brilliant minds would have the best info on it. I should really try and get Asana to be a sponsor of this because I talk about them all the time. Neither here nor there. Before I leave you today, don't worry, I will be back soon. I wanted to let you all know about some upcoming classes. Although I haven't been on the podcast lately, I've been working on some things for you. I will put links in the show notes, and if you are on my mailing list, you will also get links and notifications to both classes there as well. The first one is that I am super excited to be speaking for the Landscape Expo again, and that is on June 27th at 10 a.m. Pacific time. That webinar is all about site analysis. And then the very following week on Tuesday, July 2nd at 10 a.m. Pacific time as well, I will be offering a class on designing with grades. So all about calculating grades, taking grades, calculating cut and fill and slope, all those nerdy math things that I love so much. Both classes will be recorded. So if the date or time don't work for you, please still sign up and you can watch the recording when you are able. A teaser, though, for the Designing with Grades class, there will be a bonus for everyone that joins me live. So I hope to see you there. To wrap up, I want to thank you for your time. I hope the ideas discussed today have left you feeling excited and energized. As I build both my business and my life, I value the support and feedback you provide. I would love for you to reach out to me to let me know what you think, give me ideas, or just to connect. Please don't forget to subscribe and also share with a friend. Until next time, go create something wonderful.